Okay, what's going on, Alec? How's it going?
Oh, it's going. It's going along. It was a busy day today, but
Really?
yes,
That's
yes, it
great, but I'd
was.
rather not talk about
Well, hey, me either, honestly.
it. Well, we got some great stuff in store today. What a nice double feature we're about to record. Stranger Things 3 and Spider-Man
Yep.
Far From Homecoming.
Oh, oh my. Far from homecoming. It's far. What's far from homecoming?
It's a
Uh,
mixture. It's a mixture of.
no, no,
Oh,
no. I'm just thinking. I'm just thinking of like what's an event that would be like homecoming, but then it's like, nah, it's really far away from that though. It's
funeral.
yeah. I
It's Far From
I was
Homecoming.
thinking maybe a resurrection, but yeah, I
Both,
guess
yes. But I think funeral is
a
generally
funeral.
further.
Yeah, because it's like homecomings are reunion. Anyway, let's talk about Stranger Things.
We picked the wrong one to start on. All right,
I guess so.
Stranger Things 3. Okay, so
Yeah,
we both watched this
we did. You
100%.
watched. You like. You like plowed through this thing.
Yeah, I never almost never binge shows in such a fashion anymore. But I managed to like go through. I watched one episode and then it was like a few days later I watched all the other 7 in a row that night, and I was up to like 4:30 a.m. You know, the stars just aligned. I didn't have work the next day, so I was like, well, let's just do this. Let's be a kid again.
I don't think I've stayed up till like 4:30 since college.
Hmm.
That's impressive to me because I still am a night owl, but like I can't really stay up much past 2 these days. It's just I'm out of it. Like even then I'm like out of it past then.
Yeah,
So,
same here, honestly. Yeah, and
but
so it's a testament. Is it a testament, or did I hate it so much that I had to finish it as quick as possible? Stay
I just got to
tuned.
get through this for the show. I got to get through this for Tarqaron.
Yeah. Well, what if I did hate it? Like, would I want to go one really slow? I'd just be like, no, get it.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, maybe you're like, oh, maybe it'll get better next episode.
I have to keep watching. Oh, it's not getting better. All right, where to begin? This is we've never we've never talked about a TV show in its entirety yet, so or a
Yeah.
season.
Um. Well, yeah. It's kind of tough to figure out where to start. Well, I guess initial reaction to the season.
Yeah. Initial
Um.
reaction, like when we first started watching it, like when we were reintroduced to everything.
Yeah. I guess we just start from the beginning a little bit and then sort of work our way
Let's
towards
recap the whole show
overall impression. Yeah.
in depth.
Let's just do it. We'll be here for 3 hours.
Yes.
We'll do it. Let's do it. We'll go for it.
So the first episode, I was really kind of shocked. Honestly, going into season 3, I was like, I didn't have too high of expectations because I was kind of like, what else can you do with the formula? I
Hmm.
feel like we've covered a lot of ground here. Um, but I think they really hit the ground running with the first episode. It really was like instantly hooked. So it's really well done in like reintroducing all the characters and where they're at, and just how much has changed in such little time. So it was really cool. Honestly, the pacing is one of the things that I really loved about this show. Is that each episode I was just like super invested in wanting to watch the next one. It's like
Hmm.
not every show can do that really well, and I mean that's kind of a thing, probably a thing they were able to accomplish because it was like an 8 episode season, and it's really you can really trim the fat and also get a lot of good stuff at the same time. It's a nice length for a season, I think.
Yeah, I remember being a little like disappointed. I was like, oh, it's only 8 episodes, but I mean, the first season is gold, and that was 8 episodes. The episodes also are pretty varying in length. There's some that are like right up to an hour. Others are like 45
Hmm.
minutes. Um, so
Yeah,
there's a decent amount of variety there. And then the finale is like over 80, I think.
yeah, and for as far as creative liberties go, that's like what you want, as opposed to a general television show that's on general regular cable, where you have to like be confined to a certain amount, like 43
Yeah,
minutes
yeah,
for commercials. So this
yeah,
like the Netflix digital media freeform is it's really cool. I mean, we see a lot where it's you're able to get really good products from just letting them kind of like frame the story however you want and however long it needs to be.
and, and pace it the way you want too. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that worked really well because pretty much every episode ended at a natural or suspenseful conclusion. So that was always satisfying, and
Mhm.
also did want to keep watching for sure.
Yeah, and it just Stranger Things for some reason to me is like it feels like it's its own thing as opposed to different television shows I watched where you have a lot of like slumps and just episodes that are filler, episodes that are like get repetitive a lot. But this, I mean, you just see it's like so well crafted, and
Mm,
each story thread, each time you switch to like a different character's perspective, it's usually pretty essential. And even if it's like a fun little gag, it serves well to like contrast to something else that's going on with another character. It's really cool.
yeah, yeah.
So yeah, where do we go from here? I mean, I think in general, I thought immediately. I think Dacre Montgomery, who plays Billy, I think he was great in this season, and it's not something I really expected going into it. Obviously, he's known as like the hated character for a reason, but
There was a lot. Yeah, I actually agree with you. There was a lot. There was a lot he had to bring, and it wasn't just because he was being like overshadowed by or possessed by the mind flayer, but
mm-hmm.
like there was a lot more emotion and range that he had to bring to the role rather than I'm the jerk older brother who's trying to hit on Mrs. Wheeler. Like
Yeah,
that's how kind of it started, but then everything past episode 1 brought like a whole new, like every time it sort of focused on him there was so much complex. I personally I don't know if necessarily anyone else got this, but there was a lot of complexity in, there was hesitation that you could kind of see, and like being unsure until like the moments when he was like completely overtaken by him, and then it was just like, it was kind of mustache twirling evil.
mm-hmm.
But um yeah, there was a lot of range, or more range to the character, and more fleshing that out more, which I really liked a lot too. Yeah,
Yeah,
I was a little surprised by that as well.
and as an actor, he really got to take that on really well. I thought he was possibly my favorite actor this season, and like you wouldn't have guessed that if they just like stuck his role to season 2. You never would have guessed he's like that good.
Yeah,
And I think it was really smart what they did with his character, where it was like they used him as this plot device, but at the same time they gave him this ability to shine in so many ways. Because it's kind of like if you take a character who's that hated, it's hard to like take them in any other direction that's worthwhile. Like they already had kind of the redemption arc with Steve Harrington,
yeah,
where like the viewers get to come to like him a lot. So if
yeah.
they knew they couldn't do the same exact thing, but like, well, it's like you would think it would be reducing him to just a plot device. It actually really amplified his character. I thought it was cool.
Yeah, him and his relationship with Max in this season was just like, to me, it took on a completely different dimension than it was shown in the second one,
Mm-hmm.
and I loved that, because she's always just like, oh yeah, he's a big jerk, and he's a huge douchebag basically, but like you got to see under the layers that she does actually like really care about him a lot, um, so yeah, and vice versa, and that was very, I was impressed by that for sure, because I wasn't expecting the season to necessarily go that way, so
And
yeah.
I mean, the season in general did a lot of cool things with especially like new characters like Robin, and of course Alexi, fan
Dingus.
favorite Alexi, and
Alexi.
yeah.
Oh, Alexi is what a bundle of joy.
Yeah, they did some cool stuff with these characters and adding them and like rearranging the characters we know in different cool dynamics where like Dustin wasn't with the main group of kids the whole time. He was with Steve Harrington, Robin, and Erica out of nowhere. Never expected her to be as prominent as she was in this.
No, not at all.
But yeah, they did some cool stuff there.
The dynamics of who they decided to pit together at every time was cool. I loved all the Elle and Max scenes; those are all really fun. Um, getting to see um, getting to see Mike, Will, and I'm blanking.
I'm blanking too. I don't know.
Oh no!
I don't know who you're referring to. Honestly, I'm like, what other child? Oh,
The other man, the other one.
Lucas.
There we go. So we'll edit this part out.
I was just thinking. I just thought Caleb was the first reaction, but that's the actor's name.
Yeah. Yeah, getting to see Mike, Will, and Lucas all kind of like interacting again. Because Will again sort of took all like a back seat in season 2, because he was again like he wasn't gone, but he was horribly possessed, and there's a lot of like figuring out what to do in terms of that the whole season. But that's when we get to see like how he just wants things to be the way they used to be, and his other friends are all getting girlfriends and going through adolescence, and he just wants to hold on to something D&D. I can totally relate to the D&D thing though. That was like my favorite thing, and he's just like, I just want to play D&D, and I was like, I get you, man. I get you. Yeah. I really liked all of that. I mean, Hopper has always been my favorite character. And David Harbour just killed it the whole season.
Yeah, man. I thought this might be my favorite season from him too.
Yeah, I think I know I was reading a lot of people were just like he was just on edge and yelling and angry the whole time, and I was like, well, okay, there's a lot of reasons as to why he's that way, but something that I love about his character is that like if you really peel it back, like pretty much all of his motivation is trying to be there and be a dad and protect 11. That's kind of so like they don't necessarily know what's going on, but because there's disturbances at the old I don't even know, it was government facility, I guess. Because there's stuff going on there, it's immediate like, okay, I need to get to the bottom of this. And okay, Joyce is here. All right, well, fine. She's the one that rejected me, and she's along for this ride. So yeah, of course he's going to be kind of on edge the whole time. He absolutely slayed it this whole season, and like that final monologue at the end of the season was just like, oh man, so many feels from this show.
Yeah,
really great.
Was there a super emotional like part at the end of season 2? Because I feel like the end of season 1 was really emotional. The end of season 3 was very emotional.
I'm trying to think. I don't remember there necessarily. The reunion between Mike and Elle and Hopper and Elle were both like, those were both handled pretty well. I don't remember there necessarily being like a huge kind of emotional moment.
Mm-hmm.
There was a lot of nice, sweet moments at the end of it, because it almost felt like it was kind of wrapping the first part of a story up, I guess you could say. Because it was this thing at the was it a homecoming dance or Halloween dance or something? I don't remember exactly what it was.
The snowball?
The snowball?
Was that what it was?
I don't remember. But during that, it was the sweet moment between Nancy and Dustin.
There was some good stuff there.
There was some good stuff there.
But it's like not. It doesn't compare to these. It doesn't compare to like how emotional this one was.
No, this one was just like, this one felt like so so relatable in a way, because like everybody's always experienced that thing of friends moving away,
Hmm.
and things completely out of your control having to change, and you don't want them to, but they have to. Um, and that's just that's such a relatable thing, a relatable feeling. Um, and they nailed it so well. Um,
Yeah, and
with all that.
that's just one of the many like relatable elements that they tackled this season, and like all the different growing up. They touched on so many different things between Will's perspective, Mike's
Hmm.
perspective,
Yeah,
Max's perspective. They all had like every character contributed a lot, and Steve Harrington, how his
yeah,
life changed after being on top in high school.
yeah,
So they did a lot of really cool stuff that's like just something to relate to for a lot of different people. I bet.
yeah, yeah. They
Um,
did. Yeah, they did so many great things. With the characters this season. I agree. It. Another thing I sort of read is that people are saying, it's just rehashing it again. I didn't feel that way at all this season. I thought there was something about it that just felt so different from the last two seasons.
yeah,
Um,
I agree
yeah,
too. It's like it's something, it's some undescribable thing, but it's like the entire season had this feeling.
yeah.
It was like
It was
it was very defined in its own style.
it was. I think some of it was. There's always sort of a building tension to the end of each season, but this one, like, the building tension started so early, um, because it took on it, like, right away, like from the second episode, it was like, oh, this is like an invasion of the body snatchers type thing, and it's like that that concept is really horrifying in the right director and the right writing lens, and I think they completely nailed it. It was very creepy, and I think they did a really good job with
Hmm.
that too. The horror aspect of the season, I think that they did a really good job with it.
Yeah.
Um, so
Um, what was I gonna say?
I don't know. What were you gonna
I
say?
just had something so good to say.
It's just like bam, so good.
Oh, and in terms of potential rehashing of the
Hmm.
season, so you see season one at a very emotional end with
Yep.
11 dying. Now
Yep.
we have season three, very emotional end with Hopper maybe dying.
Oh yeah. Yeah, so that's
Is it another? Is it another freaking bait?
false as another false flag.
Yeah.
So so one of the theories that I kind of like, and the reason that I like it is because there were very small hints at it possibly this season, and that is when the giant beam overloaded, it did not obliterate those people. It actually sent them somewhere in time,
To heaven.
forward in time
Oh.
probably. Sent them to heaven.
Sent him
Sent
to
them to the
good
right.
place.
They sent them to the right side up
Oh.
as opposed to the upside down. Um,
Wait, they sent him where?
the right side up.
No, where did they actually send him?
No, like forward in time, like time travel.
Oh, sure. Let's get
Um,
into that.
there were a lot of hints this season because there were a lot of mentions of like quantum mechanics and talking about Back to the Future because that came out in
Uh
1985.
oh. Oh yeah.
Uh, there were multiple. Not only did they go see it, but then Steve and Robin were both while both on drugs were both sort of trying to figure out like what it was about and how it worked. Like I think that dude was like I think his mom was like hitting on him. Wait, that was his mom?
So, time
Good stuff.
travel. I don't know if I'm into that, but well,
I, I don't know either. I don't know how I feel. But if it's not time travel, then there's some other the there's
well,
some other means by which I think that hello, you okay?
yeah.
All of a sudden you're
First, For some reason, it just like flashed. Sometimes it just minimizes your window randomly.
Cool.
So you got a flash of Ariana Grande in your place.
Cool. Yeah, there's some other means by which I think that laser does something other than just completely obliterates them. Especially because everyone's really holding on to that line at the end. Not the American, the other one. Where it's at the post or the mid credit scene. I don't even remember what it was.
Yeah.
Where it seems that the Russians have a Demogorgon and are feeding people to it.
Mm-hmm.
So, because I guess why not? So they mentioned the American. People are obviously thinking it's Hopper. I think that's a likely guess.
Yeah, only because there's very limited options of who an American could be.
It could be a completely other character, maybe.
That would be epic.
It would just be just like epic gamer moment right there.
They just they come into the season. They never really like even addressed that. It was just a random prisoner they had. Just like not the American.
Or could be it could be
Brenner.
Oh, who?
Brenner, the freaking Papa. Papa, you know? Oh God.
Is everything all right in your room over there? Things are falling around. What's going on? Earthquake?
Eleven's father, Papa.
Oh. Oh yeah. Right. No, I was thinking of Balding Man, whose name I also can't remember.
Balding Man.
Yeah, the guy, crazy guy who can speak Russian and was buddy with Alexei the whole time.
Oh.
Yeah. Oh. Names.
Wait.
Why do we?
Why would it be him?
I don't know. But he was. Remember, he was like really insistent on like laying low and everything. And they used his public phone, and then we didn't really see whatever ended up with him exactly. I think
that's true.
I don't know. Maybe. I'm just throwing that up there as a possibility, but it's probably Hopper.
Could be Mike. We don't
Finn
know
Wolfhard. Wolfhard just plays characters from now on. Yeah.
Yes. So, what do you think of the mayor of the season?
Gary Elwes?
Yeah.
Oh, he's great. What a jerk.
I mean, I feel like he was comically dickish. He was like, enough with the. You're gonna give me the dead daughter sob story? Because I just don't care. Okay. Cool. Like,
yeah, he was definitely like comically evil, I guess, but like he wasn't really a major player, really.
Yeah, but he was like so typical politician. He's like, the voters only care about this carnival I'm going to throw right before the vote, and just get them off my lawn.
Just thought that's all I care. Yeah, yeah. I mean, I don't know.
So, I mean, in terms of criticism, that's a minor criticism. Also, I feel like.
Yeah, it's fair. I mean,
feel like the Arnold Schwarzenegger Terminator Russian.
That dude was like my favorite thing.
He's your favorite, okay?
No, he's
okay.
I did like that because it was. I mean, it was like an '80s thing. Like,
Sure, but I just feel like the Russians in that context are not very compelling, like threat, especially when you have like these monsters. It's like, okay, they're making them. It's like a space race kind of thing, but with upside down monsters.
Mm-hmm.
But it's like it's just like generic Arnold Schwarzenegger. He's shooting with the freaking rifle as they're driving away. Literally cares about nothing.
I don't know. I like that. I like Terminator Man boy. He's
also like it is kind of I mean, a lot of it is just kind of wacky, fun stuff this season. They really took that, like, just went all in on the fun aspect. So there's stuff like the fact that these children just, like, snuck into this underground Russian facility. Like, they straight up they outmaneuvered these Russians. It was, like, the most highly guarded Russian facility. Like, okay.
And then the medic who looked like the medic from Team Fortress 2.
Yeah, and he sucks. He
And
sucked as a torturer. He really sucks.
then he well, I mean, he just injected them with drugs.
He was like about to actually start torturing, and he's like, "Oh, what's that? We gotta go." Typical, like right before he's about to shove. It was like shoving something up his fingernail or something.
I think he was trying to pull. I think he was pulling out his fingernail.
Cool.
Because that's pretty horrible.
Yeah, but I also hear like shoving stuff into them.
Oh,
It's
that's
also
terrible
not good.
too. Ow! They don't even stop talking about it. That just hurts thinking about it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But they
I don't know.
kind of sucked, those guys. Like,
Yeah.
who do you work for? Scoops Ahoy.
Scoops. He's got like huge like black eyes.
Okay, so what did you think of Robin as a character? I've heard a lot of praise from fans about Robin as an addition.
Yeah. I liked her a lot. I thought she was three-dimensional. She felt like a real person. I liked the exploration of her past and how Steve Harrington's past also had an effect on her.
Mm-hmm.
I really liked the fleshing out of her. I thought she was just such a good companion to Steve. Like, giving Steve a best friend that's his own age was awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Like, particularly because it's like, I like the fact that Steve is basically the best babysitter ever. But it's also nice to actually have somebody that he can relate to on like an age range level. It's nice to have him have an equal in that regard. And
yeah. And that plot twist, man, I did not see it coming. I was like, when I was watching it, and then when I went and watched like reactions to people watching the episodes, everyone was like, "Oh, they're gonna end up together." Like, as soon as they had that first scene with them, it was like, they're gonna end up together. He's gonna keep trying to get girls, and she's been there all along.
Yeah, I thought it was gonna be that way too, particularly with Dustin egging him on, and then
I was on board with it. I'm a sucker for that thing. I was like, "Oh, sure, yeah, I ship them."
Absolutely, me too. I was
I'll ship whoever's got good chemistry immediately. Sure.
Yeah.
But then it was like, oh, that's a twist. I did not expect that at all. I mean, she's got, like, they really misled us there. She had to have known that she was misleading him, and like,
particularly when she said
I was obsessing over you.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, that was.
You didn't think about how that would be interpreted.
She might not have realized that he had a thing for her. That maybe, I don't know. You would think that language would be very like that's a little, that's, you know.
It's very leading. It's like,
yeah, it is. And then
I was obsessed over you and just watching you in class, and you were such an asshole. But now we're here, we're having fun, we're laughing.
Well, she might have wanted to give it the pretense, because, and that was another thing that people are still speculating about.
She's not a lesbian.
No, with Will.
Oh.
Because Mike says that thing, you don't even like girls.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of speculation is like, well, maybe Will just, that could have been just like a secret thing that Will and Mike have, where Will's told him, and of course, because a lot of this season of Mike is him finally trying to learn to have a smidgen of maturity, because he's very immature this season, which I thought was great, because that's like a 14-year-old boy.
Yeah,
it's great. They're 15 or however old they're. I think they're supposed to be 14.
25
in this
I
season.
think.
Yeah, they're like 27.
Yeah.
And so some speculation about that as well.
Which I definitely lean on the fact that he's behind the curve on like being into girlfriends, but
yeah, I mean it might be.
I think they're leaving the door open. Potentially, the writers don't even know.
Either way, also though, I mean that's just something that you would say that if you were getting all upset and you're an immature person, you would say that, because that's like the one thing you could say that would hurt the most to that person. which was which he
Yeah.
immediately regretted. We've all been there. um, yeah. I don't know. In the case that she was just sort of maybe just testing the waters to see, because like that's not something that you necessarily wanted out in the public. Like it wasn't socially acceptable in the 80s,
Hmm.
for everybody to know. So like she didn't realize until then that it was like, okay, no, I actually have to tell him. Like I wasn't obsessed with you because of you.
Yeah.
And then I loved his reaction. It was just like that
Oh.
she's a
Yeah,
girl.
yeah.
And then she was like, oh,
Yeah, that was a
okay.
good. That was a good, like, line of dialogue there, because it's not like you would traditionally just be like, "Oh, okay." If like, because they built this relationship up, so you,
Yeah,
definitely in like a modern lens, you'd just be like, "Oh, okay, that's nice."
yeah, and that it's like, yeah,
But it's like the first reaction is, "No, that doesn't make sense.
yeah,
That's a girl."
right.
Oh.
Oh, oh,
that's a that's
oh!
a
I
that's a big bummer for Steve. He thought he had this huge revelation that like this was the girl all along.
yeah,
But like,
yeah.
oh shoot, now I'm
I,
back to ground zero here.
oh, I definitely was feeling for Steve there, but I was like, but hey, he's got a badass
A
best
dope
friend though.
ass friend.
Yeah,
Yeah.
she's pretty rad.
So
So,
what else? There's some good stuff. Good stuff.
um, hmm. Yeah, I'm trying to think of like any other like bits to talk about. Oh, the never-ending story scene.
Yes. Yes. Susie might possibly have gotten Hopper and Billy killed.
Yeah, so yeah, everyone even okay. So David Harbour even even wrote about that. I saw on his Instagram.
Mm-hmm.
He wrote about that. He was just like it was like fan art, and he was of like Hopper reuniting with Eleven. And it was just like, so yeah, this is an alternate future where Susie didn't get me killed.
Yeah. Like really, Susie, right now.
So,
But
but
I mean, I liked it, but I was like, wow, this is kind of wacky. It's really happening right
that,
now.
that was a little, yeah, it was a little out there. I The reason that I liked it was a lot was because everyone had doubted Dustin that entire season. Was sort of, and
Hmm.
everything sort of hinged on her knowing that mathematical constant.
Yeah.
So like there was still, I would say, even though it was fun and funny, there was still a lot of tension in that scene.
My favorite is Will's face when it's playing in the car. He's got the best reaction to it. You
I
gotta,
forget
you just
I
gotta
forget
go back and watch that scene. It's just like it's beautiful just seeing everybody's reaction. Will's just like, really, is this happening right now? Yeah.
yeah. Yeah, that I can see that. I can I can kind of understand why people are kind of criticizing that, but at the same time, it's just like, uh-huh, it was fun, and I
It
mean,
was
it was
fun.
the payoff. To me, it was the payoff of that part. Like he he held the key to survival all along, and the Mormon girl had to have her moment. Little Susie had to have her moment. All right,
Now, Stranger Things 4, are they broken up, or is Susie now part of the group and just keep adding members to this gang?
the
Or
gang.
like, is Susie gonna be a regular now? She's like,
She'll probably come up again. I think they've said in four and possibly five, depends on what they decide. I think they'll probably do 5 seasons. Um, but they're planning on leaving, uh, mostly, maybe not mostly, but I know that they want to get out of Indiana and go and do other locations, other places. So
they've
hopefully,
exhausted Indiana's resources, all they can do for them. Not much more Indiana can offer us.
I mean they killed 30 people in that town, or however how
Yeah,
many people
I don't know
it
how
was
many people, but yeah,
in the news report. I remember,
I forgot to
but
acknowledge that. That's pretty cool. That like they literally just all these people died. That
yeah,
they just got messed up. Like there's no like oh they're in the Infinity Stone. They're gonna come back.
it's
They're,
like
they're
no,
just dead.
they turned into mush.
like probably all those people in that office of all the condescending douches in the paper company there.
And the paper. Oh yeah, there that was
Oh, that was yes.
a cool. I like their story this season was really great
Yeah,
too.
Nancy in that I love that conversation where it's like they both
Jonathan's story was great.
where they both don't understand each other's perspective. Where
Oh yeah,
Jonathan being underprivileged and Nancy having to work in this environment. That was really
that was
cool.
so yeah, that was such a great scene, and I loved the reconciliation that they had then, where they both were like, "No, we were both kind of wrong
Yeah.
in what we were saying." I was just like, I like them as a couple, so
Yeah, well,
that's
they're breaking up because they're moving away, and they can't have a long distance relationship. That's going to be impossible.
impossible.
Impossible. So, yeah, like I said, all these characters had great moments. One thing I'd like to see explored a little bit more next season would be Max and Lucas's relationship if that keeps going, because it really like I still don't get a sense of why they're together. Like they don't seem to be like you can get why Mike and Elle are together, you can get why Jonathan and Nancy are together, but it's like I want to see more of that if that's gonna stay a thing.
Maybe a little bit of opposites attract. I guess
Hmm.
would might be their sort of thing.
But I want to see more of a connection. Like I never saw a real
Yeah.
connection. It really just felt like buddies most
Also,
of the time.
do you want to talk about the new Coke scene?
Oh yeah, yeah.
It's a little embarrassing.
You didn't like that?
uh, yes and no. I mean, I thought it was funny, but it was kind of like, do we really need this scene in here? It was a little, it felt a little forced because like we got the fact that New Coke was a thing in 1985. I got it. It's a huge marketing push. I haven't done this yet, but I'm planning on buying their because they sell their Coke is selling some new Coke on an online site somewhere.
Hmm.
It's a limited batch. They're not going to be making a ton of it. So, um, yeah, but it was still kind of like, mm, I don't know. It was weird because it stopped for like a minute and it was them arguing about new Coke versus old classic Coke, and it was just like, speaking of which, I'm drinking Coke
Uh-huh.
right now. Let me frame this perfectly in the shot here.
Yeah, I I honestly didn't mind it. I thought it was kind of cheeky. It was like, all right, that's it's still very '80s, but it's just very
Yeah,
on the nose. That's all.
I mean, for what it's worth, would be something that they would argue about.
Yeah.
In a sense. So,
And
for what that's worth, it's just kind of yeah,
and speaking of '80s, I thought the season really thrived with like all the different outfits and the music really
yeah.
accompanied it really well.
Really leading into that. I actually remember because I watched it with my folks, but I remember liking. I was like because looking back at pictures of my brothers in the '80s, they like it's funny because it was like I can't believe you dressed my brothers like that. Like it's weird, but like it was just normal to dress the weird ways that people dressed in the
Hmm.
'80s, and like all the boys wearing short shorts. I
Yeah.
love that because that was so the thing then.
And
Um,
yeah, this and the Starcourt Mall was really cool, like
oh yeah,
backdrop
so
for that.
oh that was yeah that was just like that was awesome. Everything about that Starcourt Mall, about it being a huge front for this Russian thing underground. I loved everything about that. It was so great, and then it was populated with all the classic stores of the time.
Yeah.
So uh, yeah, that was fun. I liked that a lot. But yeah, good stuff. I'd say overall, this is probably my favorite season of Stranger Things, and
Yeah.
I say that with mad props to the first season because that is to me that was the one to beat, and I think this like just barely edges it. Um, so yeah, really good stuff.
Yeah, it's
I was
interesting because
satisfied.
it's been so long since season two. It's like almost like I forgot how much I enjoyed Stranger Things. So it's like felt like going into a new show, but then I was reintroduced to why I loved it so much,
I,
and it was
I'm
so
kind of
cool.
I'm kind of glad that they took a little time off between seasons because it was yeah it was nice getting reintroduced to everything and everyone. Um, it was funny. I think I saw one of the cast members commented. It was on Instagram. One of the cast members commented on another one's picture, and they were said something. It was like, I remember when we knew way ahead of time that we were taking a year and a half off between seasons, and how everyone expected it just to be the next year. It was
Hmm.
something like that. It was like, remember how we knew exactly what the plan was going forward, and everyone else was all disappointed and mad.
Hmm.
But I think it worked a lot more in its I think for their benefit. I think it was able to get a little bit more creative in the second season, and a lot of the editing and music choices. Music choices have pretty much always been on point, but um, really great this season.
Yeah, and they made a lot of cool moments out of that music too. Like I really loved Billy's entrance with the music at the perfect was perfect, and I mean the very
Yeah,
beginning with Mike and Al with the song too. There was a lot of cool stuff with that.
yeah. Or don't mess around with Jim.
Mm-hmm.
That's like one of my favorite scenes in the whole season.
Yeah,
Yeah, Hop singing in his car about being like so happy that that he finally got through in his way to Mike.
and I believe it was Weird Al. Weird Al that introduced Scott Clark. So
Yes,
that was cool.
yes. And Dustin was wearing a Weird Al shirt in the third episode.
Oh, I didn't even notice that.
Yeah,
Huh.
yeah, he was wearing a I don't remember. I think it was the Weird Al 3D or something like that. Yeah, he was wearing a Weird Al shirt in the third episode. So yeah, look out for that if you want to take a look for that.
Yeah.
So yeah, I love I think it was Beat It was the is
What
the
the
Beat
song?
It was the Weird Al song, I think. If
No,
memory's-
it was like my Shimona.
Yeah,
Ma-
my yeah, my Bologna. Yeah, that's right. Not Eat It, but my
just, just Scott Clark just standing there, so such a proud stance as the garage door comes up, and it's like okay, that's cool. They had a lot of these characters that I didn't expect to even see
yeah.
Scott Clark in there, and
Hmm.
they didn't shove him in our faces like more science stuff. It was like he just
Yeah.
got a little tiny little taste of them.
Just one little bit. Yep.
So yeah, yeah, I think that's everything. There's a lot of great stuff.
Yeah, it is very fun, and I look forward to where it will go in the future. More Russians, probably.
Yeah,
Like,
Russian will always be the threat every season now. That Terminator Russian will be back somehow. He'll come back and they'll be so shocked.
Terminator Russian, what are you doing here?
Yeah. So that's it. All right. Well, what would you give this Tarqaron? What score out of 10?
I don't. Can you even give a score to it? I don't know.
Absolutely.
Okay. I'll give it a solid 9. I really
9.
enjoyed this season a lot. And yeah, it's a 9. Like,
Yes. I'll give it a 2
solid
out
9.
of 10. I didn't like it.
2 out of 10. Too much water.
What if I just acted like I liked it this whole time?
Yeah, you're just like, no, actually, I despised it.
No, I was also give it a 9 out of 10.
Cool.
Solid 9 out of 10.
Woo. All right.
Definitely exceeded my expectations. I
Yeah,
was not
me too.
expecting it to be this good. I was like, it would be cool to see the characters again, but it's like, what are we gonna have? What's gonna
Yeah,
happen?
more Stranger Things is always a good thing, I think.
Yeah.
I do like the fact that the Duffer Brothers have said are planning it to end. They don't want it to just go forever. They want it to end, and I like the fact that they're planning ahead for that. That's good because God only knows how much I'm not looking forward to anything past the last Star Wars movie. Once they start that new trilogy, I might be done with Star Wars after episode 9.
Yeah, we'll see when we're talking about episode 15. Oh yeah, I was gonna mention that's a cool thing with the Netflix format, or that's an interesting thing, is that it's so different from television that's going on a weekly basis. So just drop 8 episodes all at once, and now we have to wait however long until the next season. It's not like ongoing and then the next season sometime after. Like most people don't get much time to enjoy it. It's like as long as you want it to last. So it's like Stranger Things season 3 could last all of one day, like it did for me, or 1 week, and that's a season.
Yeah, like I watched it through. It took me about a week to get through it. So because I was watching with my folks. So
the wait will feel much more excruciating, and it'll feel like so much more time has passed than with a show where
time to rewatch the seasons. If it takes long enough again, I might actually start rewatching it. So.
That was so cool when they had that flashback where you saw the young kids too. I was like, wow, I haven't rewatched it all, so it was like that was such a huge difference.
I know, it was crazy to see. It was like, wow, they were just like little bean sprouts, and now they're like, look at them now.
Voices too.
Yeah.
Fireball. And it's just like the time progression has been natural, so it like feels like the growth is natural. It's like an IRL time jump.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Good stuff.
All right. Well, thank you for watching. So that's a Tarqaron score of 9 out of 10. Can't get better than that.
I mean, it could, I suppose. You have to really like completely just knock our minds out of reality.
Well,
basically.
what made it not a 9.5 out of 10 for you? For me, it was the Russians.
I mean, I don't know.
It was the Russian combination of the Russians, the mayor, and the never-ending story.
I like I think the mayor kind of knocks it down for me a little too. I mean, he's very derivative. I love Cary Elwes and I loved his character, but like, it is just like, it's
politician.
The thing. It's politician man. I don't know. I don't know what else would knock it down. Really, I don't know. It's just what I came up with on the spot, man.
Well, it did suck. So, yeah. Thanks for watching.
Maybe it is a 9.5. I don't know. Who knows?
It's too late.
It's too late now.
You'll regret that for the rest of your life. I wish I'd given it a 9.5.
I should have given Stranger Things 3 a 9.5.
Everything comes down to the scores. That's how you can compare it. I'm making a document that has a list of all of our scores, so you can say, this TV show was better than this video game because we have a higher score.
Because that's how that works.
Yeah. This TV show is better than Extremely Wicked, Shockingly Evil, and Vile. If you compare them.
Yeah, they're easily directly comparable, for sure.
Alright, well that's it. Thank you.
Alright, bye.
Great.
Close.